So today's video is one that you really need to watch because we're talking about technique versus skill. We're going to show you the importance of both and explain how working on both of these independently can really help you improve your game and lower your scores. That was a pretty good shot and I would be very happy with that as a tee shot down this 12th hole. That was me trying to make, for me, a decent golf swing. That was my sort of normal setup, my normal backswing, downswing, and obviously the result was fairly good. So what would happen if I took my setup with this same golf club, and although I was trying to hit the middle of this fairway, I set myself up and aimed straight towards this big tree up here on the left, so my alignment was definitely pretty poor. Let's put the ball much further back in the stance than would be normal for this club, so that's kind of back of centre, definitely not where we'd expect to play this golf club from. Let's take my grip, which for me is fairly neutral, let's make it a little bit stronger. Let's make my right hand, let's make that a little bit weaker. Let's take my shoulder alignment and let's skew it this way a little bit, and let's raise the handle up at the setup. So lots of things wrong in this setup, and let's see kind of what happens to this shot. Now it's a very different ball flight, it was left to right, it was a little lower, but I've hit the fairway. I'd probably say that's gone maybe 10 yards shorter than my first shot, but when we're looking at playing the game of golf, that's pretty useful. I've started from the tee and I've got it in play. But how do I do that from such a terrible setup? Well, we have to really look at, there's two things that we need to really focus on if we're to get better at golf. Technique. I'm not going to be as consistent doing that as I would be doing the first swing. So technique is definitely going to help you play good golf. The reason I was able to get that second ball in the fairway is because I have a fairly decent amount of skill when it comes to playing the game of golf. Whatever setup you give me, whatever grip you give me, whatever starting position I'm going to give you, almost whatever backswing you give me, I've got a pretty decent idea about how to make the club head collide with the ball and make it go straight. I've got a decent amount of skill when it comes to that. So the question I would pose to you is, if you are trying to reduce your handicap, think about what you are doing in your practice and your play to develop your skill. Unfortunately, the answer is often not a lot. We're often working on technique alone. Now, I was planning on doing this video, but I did a video very recently talking about a drill where you would go to the top and someone would call out different ball flights and you would hit high fade, low draw, and they're sort of trying to get you to feel the golf swing a little bit more. Now, the comments for me were really interesting because it was very, very noticeable that the feedback there was, this is far too difficult for me. I'm an 18 handicapper, I'm a 12 handicapper, I'm a 20 handicapper, I can't do this drill. This is for the good players. Now, I really want you to think about this kind of statement, if you like. Those comments were very much along the line of, I can't do this because I'm not a good player. What I'd really love you to think about would be, they are good players because they did this drill. That's how they got to be that good. So, you know, these little exercises that I was kind of pushing across here, they shouldn't be easy to do. They should be difficult, but they're starting to get you to develop your skill when it comes to playing golf. That's how you get better. So, you know, as a kid, you know, I'd go to the driving range and I would try and hit, you know, certain shots. Could I hit them? Absolutely not. But it didn't mean that I went, well, I'm not good enough to do those. I just continued with that process. I continued to try and hit the big hooks and the slices and the low ones and the high ones and the flop shots and the spinners and the high bunker shots. I just continued to try. And as we continue to try, we get better at that. So if you've got a decent amount of skill, you can get away with, you know, a slightly poor setup, an alignment which isn't perfect, a takeaway which isn't perfect, a grip which isn't perfect. But if you have a low skill level and a poor technique, unfortunately, that's when we get the golfers shooting in the hundreds, you know, and that's really where we want to try and get you to improve. So this video really was more of a case of trying to get you to really think about what you can do in practice to develop your skill. I would get you to set up with a golf club, it doesn't matter what that golf club is, and practice delivering the club face open, delivering it closed, delivering it with less loft, delivering it with more loft, changing the speed, changing the path, starting to play around with all of those things that happen at impact because if you can get control of how the club and the ball collide, guaranteed you can play this game to a much higher standard than what you currently are. The golfers that I see who struggle have a delivery, and they really struggle to change that. They struggle to make any adjustments to that, and when they do make those adjustments, it feels so strange. But if I'm quite comfortable with changing the delivery, and I can hit the draws and the hooks and the fades, when I go for a golf lesson, someone makes a tweak to my swing, it doesn't feel alien to me because I'm quite used to making those changes anyway. If I swing the same for 10 years, someone changes my grip, it suddenly feels so different, I can't control it, I almost capitulate and I can't hit the ball. So let's think about what we're doing in practice, which is developing your skill. If you're not doing anything in practice to develop your skill, I would highly recommend you do that. Those drills and those practices that you do, you shouldn't be able to do them. That's why we're getting you to do it, because if you could do it, it's almost pointless. So challenge yourself in practice. Do things that you can't do. Make that the last 5 minutes of your practice, and I guarantee you'll see the results in 5, 6 months down the line, a years down the line, when your scores start to improve. So hopefully that video is helpful. I really hope that gets a message across, which I think is definitely misunderstood from the amateur golfers. Comment below, would love to get your feedback. Also give it a like if you did like this video, and subscribe to me over there if you did like the video. My logo, click that, it's absolutely free. It just means you'll get first access to all of these videos. Thank you once again for watching. I really hope we'll see you back here again soon.